Hey everyone, we've got a powerful storm system that's gearing up to impact a big chunk of the United States over the next few days. And this one is going to bring the potential for some really significant severe weather. We're talking very large hail, damaging winds, and yes, even the possibility of a few tornadoes. In fact, there's even a shot that we could see a strong tornado or two. So in today's forecast, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to know about the weather over the next week, especially with all the active weather that's expected. We'll start off by looking at what's happening across the country right now, and things are already starting to get interesting. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. We've got a low-pressure system spinning over the Ohio Valley, and that's bringing in some cooler air for areas like Ohio, Indiana, and surrounding regions. Along with that, we're seeing plenty of showers and thunderstorms developing along the East Coast. Then, on the flip side, there's another low-pressure system sitting back over the Four Corners region. That one was responsible for yesterday's severe weather in New Mexico and West Texas, which included quite a bit of hail. And today, that same system is continuing to push eastward, bringing yet another round of severe weather threats to parts of Texas and New Mexico. As we head into tomorrow, the threat really ramps up. We're likely looking at a more widespread and potentially more intense severe weather setup across the southern plains and deep south. And here's where things get even more interesting. We're entering a totally different kind of weather pattern than what we've seen so far this year. It's called an omega block pattern. So what's that mean? Basically, we've got two major low-pressure systems, one in the southwest and another one in the Ohio Valley. That setup is kind of squeezing the atmosphere in between, allowing cold air to spill in from the north, while at the same time pumping in moisture from the Gulf into areas like the Great Plains. And that's going to fuel a lot of active weather. We're also seeing widespread rain along the East Coast, and that's not going anywhere for a few more days. Now, here's the big thing to watch. As that low-pressure system in the southwest moves into the southern plains tonight and into tomorrow, we're expecting the low-level jet to ramp up. That's basically a strong stream of wind just above the surface that can help spin up tornadoes. So once again, we're looking at the potential for damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes, especially across the southern plains and deep south on both Monday and Tuesday. Heading into midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that low pressure will start to broaden out. And while that usually means less organized severe weather, we're still going to have moisture coming in from the Gulf. That means showers and storms are still in the cards for the Gulf Coast and parts of the southeast through the end of the week. It won't be as intense, but it'll definitely stay active. Now, by the weekend, a high-pressure system is expected to build in over the Rockies, and that should shut down any large-scale severe weather threats from around Wednesday through Sunday or Monday of next week. And this is a big but, I do think there's a good chance we'll see storm systems return sometime between May 15th and 21st. That could be a very active stretch, so we'll be watching it closely. All right, let's break down the severe weather threat over the next couple of days, starting with today, Monday. There is an enhanced risk in place, which is a level 3 out of 5, specifically around Midland and Odessa in West Texas. This area is where the biggest threats are lined up: very large hail, a couple of tornadoes, and of course, damaging winds. Surrounding that, there's a broader slight and marginal risk across much of Texas, parts of New Mexico, and even a slice of Colorado. Meanwhile, over in the mid-Atlantic and Florida, there's a smaller, more isolated severe weather threat. Florida could see a low-end tornado risk today, but for the most part, the main concerns will be isolated wind and hail. Now, back to Texas, this is where things could get wild later today. The Storm Prediction Center has placed a hatched area over parts of West Texas, which basically means we could see hailstones greater than 2 inches in diameter. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw some storms drop softball-sized hail later this afternoon. There's also a 5% tornado risk in place for Midland and Odessa. To put that in perspective, that's a 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. And I wouldn't be surprised if that gets bumped up to a 10% hatched risk later today, depending on how the atmosphere evolves. So definitely stay alert if you're in that area. And yeah, Florida again has a very small tornado risk, but it's nothing like what we're watching out west. Now, looking ahead to Tuesday, the forecast gets a little tricky. It's what I'd call a conditional severe weather day. Right now, there's a slight risk for parts of Texas and Louisiana, and a marginal risk extending into Oklahoma and Arkansas. But whether or not Tuesday becomes a big severe weather day depends on what happens in the morning. There's a chance we could have a mesoscale convective system, basically a big complex of storms, rolling through the southern plains early Tuesday. If that happens, it could eat up a lot of the energy and keep the severe threat lower, maybe just marginal or slight. But if that system either doesn't form or weakens quickly, that opens the door to a potential tornado outbreak Tuesday afternoon and evening. Why? Well, we've got a strong low-level jet and a warm front that could boost wind shear dramatically. That's the kind of setup where supercells and strong tornadoes become much more likely. Areas to really watch include Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco, Austin, and Shreveport. And I'd expect to see an upgrade in the next SPC outlook if things continue trending this way. One tool I've been watching is the Significant Tornado Parameter, which basically combines all the ingredients for tornadoes into one number. Tonight into early Tuesday, those values spike over West Texas, and that tells me there's definitely a window for isolated strong tornadoes, especially near Midland and south of Lubbock. Overnight into Tuesday morning, a line of storms will likely sweep through Texas with wind, hail, and maybe some tornadoes. And if that line breaks up or slows down enough, we could see new supercells form late Tuesday morning or afternoon, especially near DFW and into southeast Texas. And just a heads up, even though we might see discrete storms, many of them could be high precipitation, meaning any tornadoes that form might be rain-wrapped and harder to see. There's also a chance Tuesday afternoon into evening we could get some more isolated supercells up near Amarillo and northwest of Dallas. These would be farther north, closer to the actual low-pressure center, so they might be more photogenic tornadoes if they form, meaning less rain-wrapped. But again, it's a conditional setup. Timing-wise, we'll start with scattered convection late morning into early afternoon Monday. By 3 to 4 p.m., we could see some storms firing near Amarillo. Those will mostly be hailmakers. If anything tries to interact with the warm front near Lubbock by 6 or 7 p.m., we might see a tornado, but I think that risk is low. The real action likely begins around 9 to 10 p.m. near Midland, with a big line of storms pushing east overnight. By 4 to 5 a.m. Tuesday, that line should be approaching Abilene and Wichita Falls. If it holds together into the morning, it could delay or suppress new storm development later in the day. But if it fizzles quickly, we could be looking at discrete supercells developing in southeast Texas and around DFW by late morning or early afternoon. Bottom line, it's going to be a messy setup, very similar to what we just saw a few days ago with a squall line that suppressed tornado development despite a 10% hatched risk. So Tuesday could go either way, tornado outbreak or just a messy line of storms. But the potential is definitely there. By late Tuesday evening, storms will be moving into East Texas, Louisiana, and even Mississippi. Damaging winds, hail, and a few tornadoes will remain possible through about 10 or 11 p.m. There's also a small risk of some storms forming near the Red River Valley, including Wichita Falls, late Tuesday, but that's a much lower-end threat. Looking ahead into Wednesday, that low-pressure system will start to break apart, but there will still be enough energy for showers and storms along the Gulf Coast and Southeast. Same story Thursday and Friday, plenty of moisture, especially south of a high-pressure system parked over the Great Lakes. So we'll stay active down there through the end of the week. Then by the weekend, that high pressure will dominate from the southern plains into the mid-Atlantic, bringing drier and warmer weather. No big severe threats expected after Tuesday until at least early next week. Now, beyond that, there is something we're watching. Models are hinting at a possible large low-pressure system forming over the Rockies early next week. If it tracks into the northern plains, the severe threat stays low. But if it dips southeastward, we could be looking at a bigger issue. So we'll keep an eye on that. And regardless, after May 15th, I do think we're heading into a stretch of more frequent and potentially big severe weather events. That's right in the heart of severe weather season, and the ingredients are starting to line up. Oh, and don't forget, rainfall is going to be another major player this week. Between now and Sunday, we could see 1 to 3 inches of rain across a large swath from Colorado to the southeast. Even New England might pick up 3 to 6 inches near New York and Connecticut. And look at this. Parts of the deep south could get 4 to 8 inches of rain. So, yeah, turn around. Don't drown if you're on the roads. Thanks again for being here. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.